A very good afternoon from the heart of Nairobi. This is Road to 2027. We are very lucky to have Mheshimiwa GG Kagombe, the MP of Gatundu South. 2025 has been quite an instrumental year, both in the political scene, in terms of governance in Kenya. We are here for the final interview of 2025, Mheshimiwa, just to break down events that happened in the country, happened in your constituency, and happened in the greater Mount Kenya region where you come from and where you are politically. Let's just have maybe a tidbit of what happened in 2025, maybe progressively, that you think as an MP you have achieved, and as a country maybe just the major events for the year for you. What do you think are the highlights?
Thank you very much. 2025 was a very interesting year. Having come from the backdrop of from the realities of 2024, you know, we had the Gen Z protests and everything. So one of the most important things that as a country we have achieved is some stability. And this year has been a lot more stable than last year was, politically. And, you know, generally, even economically, we've been able to stabilize. The dollar stabilized. We have had more exports than previous years. We had a better balance of trade, our deficit in payments has come down way much from the previous almost 12 trillion. So we are in a good place economically. The other side of it is that the weather is now getting a little drier, so we expect more challenges in the future. But generally, economically, we've been able to, you know, we've stabilized. That year that comes to an end has been a good year to us. Of course, we have had political challenges. There was the by-elections that were just concluded, which again showed the alignment between government and the opposition. You know, government flexed some muscle there and showed, you know, political superiority, especially in Mount Kenya. Now we you know, the success of the elections in Bahari North was quite a statement to you know, to the opposition and to the people generally, that the government is still in charge and that the people are listening to the government, and they are interested in knowing what the government is doing. And truly speaking, to say that the lies that have been peddled about performance of the government and everything has been pretty much hogwash and lies, and that the people have no problem with the government. Those are learnings for this year. In the constituency, we've been able to unlock a lot of projects. You know, we've been able to finish 3 dams, the dam in Wamuguma, the dam in Handega, and the dam in Mohoho. We've been able now to start creating reticulation of water. We've been able to do a lot of schools, to refurbish them and to make sure that they're now you know, in better conditions than they have been in the past. Some of the schools have not been touched since they were created in the 50s and 70s. And therefore, we have been able to renovate about now 36 schools, primary schools especially. We've been able to do roads. We've been able to secure contractors to come back to site, especially in Kagema Karato, where it was such a problem. We are now going to open up the road from Kemanga, Kahugoine, Magemio to Gathage to upgrade it to tarmac standard. And we have been able to at least rehabilitate a lot of roads, very many roads, more than 15, 16 roads in the year in the constituency. We've also been able to help a lot of children go to school by way of issuing bursaries and making sure that parents who have had a lot of hard time working and taking their kids to school have been supplemented and helped by CDF. And therefore, and many other things, even insecurity. For example, I was just here with the With the OCPD Gatondo, we've been able to complete Mukinye police station. We've been able to do a police post in Darugo, and we are doing a police line in Darugo, and doing a police station that has been burnt down in Keganjo. We have many issues around security that we've been able to fix. We've been able to make sure that there was a lot of theft in the past of farm produce, avocado, arrowroots, cows, and everything. And we've been able now to contain that and create an environment where a lot of people are able to continue with their business and their economic activities without issues of security. So it's been pretty much a good year, and we look forward to an even better year in 2026. Yeah.
Mheshimiwa, you've at least broken down the issues that happen in 2025. You started by mentioning the issue of political stability, obviously coming from the backdrop of the 2024 Gen Z protest. And I think this year was quite significant in terms of, I know political stability affects a lot of how the economy performs, how Kenyans perform either on their businesses or in their daily activities at work. So from your rating, I know you could be biased about this because you're obviously government aligned, but from your basis, do you think 2025 has been a better year compared to the previous year, that is for this regime, 2023 and 2022, when the first year this regime was in power?
I think 2023 was definitely a very good year for the government and for the country. And of course, 2024 things went haywire, and we had a lot of protests and a lot of noise and a lot of instability. But 2025 has generally been a good year, and I think the government has been able to achieve a lot of things in 2025 because we did. This is a year that the government has been able to launch a lot of housing projects, especially within Kiambu markets. Some of those things we have been able to do in Gatondo. We have now done some markets. We've done a market in Kiamwangi at a place called Mutemuomo, and we're doing another market in Mondoro, another market in Gadage, and generally that has been the trend within the Kiambu County and also in the country. So this year, the government has been able to deploy a lot of housing projects that have employed a lot of young people. We've been able to stabilize SHA, been able to get a lot of savings from national savings in NSSF. And generally, the most important thing is to quell political instability. You can imagine if we had the chaos that informed most of or that prevailed in 2024, then a lot of these things would not have been achieved this year. But I think 2025 was a pretty good year for the because you see, macroeconomics is not something that changes overnight. So a lot of the benefits that will be realized that accrue from this year will be realized in the future, from 2026, 2027, and going forward, because things like housing projects that have started, they will take quite some time to be finished. But once they are finished, then the effects will be seen in the country, and the population, the people will know and will feel the effects of what we've been able to do in 2025. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mheshimiwa, a very major phenomenon happened in 2025. That was the loss of the death of Right Honorable Raila Odinga, former Prime Minister. May his soul rest in peace. I don't know what do you remember Raila Odinga for, and what do you think his death will affect Kenya? I know, being such a significant leader or figure for almost the last 3 or 4 decades, I would say, his death would quite be have far-reaching effects, both politically, economically, or such things. How would you remember him? Let's take it from there.
First of all, we're still mourning the death of Right Honorable Raila Odinga, because he was a luminary in this country. He was a stalwart in the Kenyan politics, and we shall forever remember him for the contribution that he made towards the democratic space that we now enjoy. Raila Odinga was very, very, very instrumental to the making of the constitution that we now enjoy, the Constitution of Kenya 2010. And I remember when we were at the university from 2003 all the way to 2010 before we got that constitution. And by the way, his agitation for changes, including the removal of Section 2A of the Constitution in 1990, of the older Constitution in 1992. I mean, Baba has left a very remarkable, footprint in the Kenyan politics. I mean, even now, the architecture of government currently, as is, the creation of Senate, the creation of devolution, especially, is all the fruits of what Baba was able to achieve in this country. Most recently, Baba will be remembered for bringing stability to the country. I mean, when things really went south in the country, Baba was always there to say, please, let's have dialogue, let's talk. We've not even finished actualizing NADCO report. NADCO report is a fruit of Baba's work. Therefore, I think if we were to sing praises and look at the contributions of Raila Odinga to the democratic space in this country, we would be here an entire day and we will still not finish, giving accolades to Raila, to the late Raila Amolo Odinga. But most importantly is that, especially in Nairobi, we have been able to coexist despite our political differences and everything, and ethnicities, because we have now a proper constitution that runs us. This country, if you remember some years back, there's a time we have had, friction that has been on the lines of communities. We've had this community fighting against another community. The events of that happened in Bahari, where people will be attacked because you come from a certain community. But over time, those things have been have ended, and people have been able to live together as one people without looking at our ethnicities. I think the contributions that Baba has made and towards stability of this country are enormous, are many. We cannot talk every day. When Baba was alive, every day we woke up to remember something that Baba did towards the growth of our democracy and the growth of our republic. And therefore, it was a huge loss, especially now headed towards 2027. But we will live with it and only wish that his spirit lives in us and his spirit guides us, so that we're able to increase the democratic space of this country and to be able to coexist peacefully as people of different communities and different ethnicities within the country. Thank you very much.
Mheshimiwa, I would like to get your opinion on, I heard this, I think, somewhere on a public forum where somebody mentioned that Raila Odinga was like the handbrake or the person who stops any political crisis. Now that maybe he's not around, and I know heading towards 2027, we've seen some political rhetoric running around. Do you think if right now maybe Kenya faces any of a crisis, a political crisis of sort, how are we going to be able to tackle such a thing?
Of course, the shoes of Honorable Raila Odinga are difficult to fill. The power he enjoyed and the audience that he was given by Kenyans, they would listen to him, And so it's difficult to fill those shoes, especially because we have in this country over time created a very huge deficit in trust between the people and governments. And it's not just this government; it's successive governments that have been a little, removed from realities of the people, and therefore trust deficit has increased. He used to enjoy some space where he would be heard because he would seem to be speaking for the people who are downtrodden. And the people, when the people felt like the government was against them, then Raila Odinga would come there. So as it is now, it's going to be a little difficult. But somehow, communities find a way of resetting themselves. So I do not anticipate, crisis that will be untenable or crisis that will be unable to solve as a country. But I'll tell you that where you would have needed, where Baba would have needed to put effort, now we will need to put maybe double the effort to quell situations when they come. But all the same, I do not foresee a situation where the country will be unable to proceed, or people will be unable to coexist with each other. Only that we will need a lot more effort than would have put, or Baba would have put, to put people together.
Mheshimiwa, you as well represent a very senior citizen, retired President Uhuru Kenyatta. You are he's your constituent actually. Do you think he still has a role in both Kenyan politics or the stability of Kenya, in terms of how he influences it, or how what role he plays going forward? I know he has not been entirely retired either politically. Some are speculating that he's been pulling strings behind the scenes. But do you think he still has a role in terms of Kenyan politics, either as a senior citizen, as a statesperson?
First of all, any retired president who is alive in any country is a powerful person. Is a man whose word would be listened to. But I like what I've seen in the recent past when President Uhuru Kenyatta has, taken a back seat and let, politics take its course. Unlike previously in 2022, 2023, when he was a lot more politically involved, I find that he has taken a back seat in the year 2025 and the year 2024. But it is important to say that his stand politically would have would mean a lot, and a lot of people would listen to what he's saying. So when there will be a crisis, supposing there's a crisis, I would expect his voice to be the voice, or the sober voice to be listened to, and to put people together. But I do not see a situation where he will be active in politics again, because we have had him say and pronounce himself on it, and say that now all he wants to do is rest and watch as politics is played by the players who are now active. So I think he has taken a backseat, but I know if his voice was required, he would come and say something about the country and ask people to go a certain direction. And he would have his fair share of audience that would listen to him. And therefore, because you see, people treat such luminaries with respect, because they know, they feel like he has nothing to gain or lose if politically, and therefore what he's saying is seen to be objective, to be only guided by objectivity. And therefore, like any other retired president in the past has enjoyed, he enjoys an audience that would really want to hear what his comment or his idea about certain situations. Yeah.
At the start of our conversation, you mentioned the issue of obviously a very huge political event in the year. That is recently the by-elections that just ended recently. as a leader from the Greater Kiambu region, from the Mount Kenya region, I know this political event has been quite significant. Do you think its conclusion or the results from the by-election maybe are an indicator towards the outcome of the 2027 by-elections? I have seen some analysts say that probably in 2027 the fight will be bigger, because probably everybody could be fighting in their own constituency, other than where this by-election, all resources, both financial and personnel and campaign machinery, was deployed towards winning these elections for government, or winning or trying, the opposition trying to flex their muscle. Do you think this is an indicator, or it was just a unique political event?
Any by-election that would come at a time like this is an indicator of where we are headed. I mean, when one side wins 7 seats out of 7 in the parliamentary by-elections, it's a big indicator. It says it all. And political trends do not change so drastically. Kenyans are not very drastic people. We like stability, and therefore we like moving in a certain direction. And that is an indication. What you saw in the by-elections is an indication of what will happen in 2027. That Kenyan people generally like stability. They avoid drastic changes, and they avoid very radical changes. So you find that they move in a certain direction. And that is the direction that we saw in the by-elections. Therefore, that informs 2027 without a doubt. It has been proven in the past. You remember in 2022, when the by-elections happened in Juja and Kiamba, after the demise of the Paul Koinange and Waititu of Juja. What happened after those by-elections is what gave impetus to UDA, and that is how UDA came and swept the other seats in August of 2022. So I would say that the same trend, and this has happened even in other by-elections that have come towards elections. It's always been an indication. It's a litmus test, and that is why it was important, because now the people know. The people have a feeling, if you had listened to the opposition at that time, you would have thought that the government candidate or the UDA candidate would not even get 2 votes, But now when it comes to where the rubber meets the road, then we had a test, and we saw that it's actually lies that have been peddled by opposition. And that is exactly what is going to happen in 2027.
Sparking from these by-elections, this week we have seen rhetoric emerging of about the issue of being a Mount Kenya West, a Mount Kenya East. Historically, we've known the Mount Kenya people voting as one bloc, speaking in one political message. In the last general election, they even defied one of their most formidable sons to vote for President William Ruto. Why this rhetoric right now? Why Mount Kenya West? Why Mount Kenya East?
There has been an attempt to divide Mount Kenya, and that attempt has been a brainchild of the opposition. That attempt to say that now we have Mount Kenya East and Mount Kenya West, and that we could have different political ideologies, cannot succeed. We are one people. Even when we say, asking for issues of development and saying we now want development to come to Mount Kenya East or to Mount Kenya West is okay. It's pretty much okay, because politics is a science and art of division and distribution of resources. And you have seen in the past Kiambu saying we now want to be treated as a region by ourselves, so that our votes are significant So we should be a region so that development comes to Kiambu. It doesn't mean that we have now, like gone our separate ways. No. Mount Kenya is Mount Kenya. We speak the same language. We have the same issues. We have we have the same needs. We are all farmers. We rely on agriculture. So we are one people. And clamor for recognition, whether it's a constituency, whether it's a ward, whether it's a county, whether it's a region, whatever it is, clamor for recognition, political recognition, cannot be suppressed. It must be supported. But that doesn't mean, even now, we are one country, but we have many regions. We have Luo Nyanza, we have the Greater Nyanza, we have Western, we have Eastern, we have Northeastern, and everybody pulls from their side. I mean, when we want a road, we say we want this road to come to Rift Valley. We want schools to be built in Rift Valley. We want schools to... It's the same thing. When I come from Kiambu, I say, first of all, I come from Kiambu. I come from Kenya, but first from Kiambu. Or first from Gatundu, then Kiambu, and then Kenya. So, clamor for political recognition and therefore economic recognition and economic benefit is the actual politics. It's politics 101. It is just about division of resources and distribution. So I find no problem with people from Mount Kenya East saying now we want development to come specifically to Tharaka Nithi. We want roads in Meru. We want roads or we want development in Embu. There is nothing wrong with that, absolutely. That should not be misconstrued to say that we have divorced as a people. No. We are together. We are only asking for, this is only clamor for development and for political recognition.
I've heard some of the leaders, and mostly from the opposition, saying this Mount Kenya East, Mount Kenya West issue is actually being pushed by the state or by President William Ruto. He's actually borrowing from the Daniel Arap Moi playbook in the 90s, where he managed to split the Mount Kenya votes between Kenneth Matiba and Mwai Kibaki, and that is why probably he emerged a winner. Do you think you agree or disagree with that?
First of all, the division in 1992 between former President Kibaki and the late Stanley Matiba was not about East and West. They are both from West. You may want to know that Matiba was from Keharu, which is in Moranga, and Kibaki was from Odaya, which is in Nyeri. They are just both of them from the West. The issue of division is being pressed by Gachagua. He's the one who's pushing that agenda. He's the one who creates this thing of the community, the Kikuyu community or the Mount Kenya community is being fought. First of all, that's a very old way of doing politics. Because in this country now, if you look at factors of production, if you look at the distribution of resources, I mean, we have devolution. So you can't say that you will only pay money to counties that do not have Kikuyus. First of all, as a community, we are everywhere. We are in Nairobi, we are in Kisumu, we are in Mombasa, we are everywhere. So you cannot now, it is not possible to attack a certain community because, I mean, everybody is a farmer. If our economic activities, there is no economic activity that is unique to a certain community. I mean, not unless things like fishing, where it only happens within a lake, and even in that business, the people who have take the fish and then any other such resources is everyone, is every community. I mean, everybody in the supply chain of fish is not just the Luos. It is everybody. It is Kikuyus, it is Luyas, it is Kambas, it is everybody. So this narrative that Gachagua is trying to drive, that there is an attack against a community, is hogwash. And the people can see it. Because tell me how you're going to isolate a community and say that we have now isolated that community, they're the only ones who do that business. Which business are you going to say that it's only the Kikuyus who do that business? I mean, if it's coffee, coffee is grown in very many counties, even where intrinsically they're not just Kikuyu counties. Tea, milk, everything. Every economic activity cuts across all communities. It's a facade that is trying to create that, when someone says that, and it is true, there could be a lot of business people who are Kikuyus in Nairobi, but you cannot say that businesses are only owned by Kikuyus. I mean, it is a lie. If you look at matatu business, if you look at shops, if you look at whatever other business that is done in this city, we have all communities in it. Because if I have a shop, that shop helps me as a proprietor, but it also helps the people who buy from me, the people who are employed, the people who supply me. It's a whole, the people who transport goods that have come from my shop. It's a whole ecosystem. And therefore, and everybody within that ecosystem. When you start a pharmacy, you benefit, but also the patients who come to buy from that pharmacy benefit. The supplier of that medicine benefits. So it's a facade that Rigathi Gachagua wants to advance, and would be very foolish to fall for it. And I don't think Kenyans or the people from Mount Kenya would fall for such gimmicks. Wajinga wameisha hii nchi. We have scarcity of fools in this country. Watu si wajinga. So they can see through him. They can see through the narrative. And that's why you see, over time, given a microphone, he has just cannibalized himself. And he's soon going to cannibalize himself into oblivion. And that will be it. Therefore, I would say there is no attempt whatsoever to divide the people of Mount Kenya. When we started the clamor for Kiambu region to be recognized as such, people say the same thing. Oh, government is now coming to divide Mount Kenya. Now they want to divide Kiambu from... No. We're just saying we want development to come and to follow us. Period. And so there's no... the only division that is coming is being advanced by Gachagua to show that there's now division, and therefore please come together and you rally behind me because I'm the one who's going to be... He has tried that thing. This is the second year. It has failed. He's been unable to convince the people of Mbeere North that they should rally behind him. He says that, 500 votes were stolen. Where did the 15,000 come from? The way he had been speaking, you would have imagined that he was going to get 100% of the votes. But people can tell that this man is beating drums of war. And therefore, people avoid such rhetoric. So do not fall for such, and I do not think any Kenyan would fall for such. We are way beyond. This is 2025. This is the year 2025. We are going to 2026. That is politics that used to be done, to be practiced in the 60s. It has no space. It has no place in the Kenyan modern society.
Mheshimiwa, going from the information you're giving and looking at the upcoming elections, the 2027 general elections, and mostly at the presidential level, what is this thing that probably you think would block President William Ruto from getting a second term? Or do you think this is just going to be a smooth ride all over? There's no competition. As he says, after, for example, Raila Odinga's death, because he was obviously a political giant, it is going to be a smooth ride for him. Do you think it is so?
I don't see any competitor who can put a fight against President William Ruto in the current political architecture. I don't see anybody. I don't see anybody who can match the political might and the political acumen of President William Ruto. And like I've told you, Kenyans love stability. And they would want a transition or another government that guarantees that stability. Let me tell you, you may not think it to be true, but faced with a very radical shift that would probably say that we move to this side and proceed, and things are going to be, I don't know how, and a slow, smooth political transition, Kenyans would prefer the less radical route, and that would be to stick with President William Ruto. And that is what is going to happen in 2027. I see no obstacle to the president that would stop him from getting a second term. It's not feasible. There isn't any. You see, through this, if you listen to the noise that has been there in the past, the people who've been making that noise have been the Gen Zs, as we say. But where were they in the by-elections? They didn't turn up. They didn't come. And therefore you realize we have this thing. We have very few people who have very loud mouths. You get one person on social media who has a following that looks like it's gigantic. But it's just a small society that is elitist in thinking. And they think that their realities are the realities of the country. But that is not the case. The realities of the country is that the majority of the people who are in the rural areas engaging in agricultural activities and other economic activities want stability. That is all they care about. These are the noise that is created by the young people. And I do not have a problem with that. It is a political right. It is a civic duty to be involved in politics and to oversee what government is doing and to put all governments, both the national government and the county governments, to accountability. To put them to accountability. It is the work of the Mwananchi. It is actually guaranteed in the Constitution. And it says the power belongs to the people. So what the youth are doing and what the Gen Zs, as you want to call them, are doing is perfectly correct. It's perfectly right. We were there. We have been agitating for politics. And it has been like that since the days of Kavirondo, since 1963. Even the Mau Mau was not fought by the old people. It was the young people. Even the second liberation of 1992 and even the for democracy and even the constitution of 2010 was fought by the young people. It is always the young people who are doing this. So there's nothing out of the norm with what the Gen Zs are doing. But I have realized over time, painfully so, that the young people normally have agitation, but they have always not been able to articulate their issues because there's no order. And it happens everywhere. So even this time, the clamor for one term and all those things and the change of government and everything will be there, but the people who really have a lot to lose economically will choose the smoother way. That is what is going to happen in 2027.
Finally, Mheshimiwa, as we conclude, obviously you're saying President Ruto is obviously going to be re-elected in 2027. Given that state, given the opinion of that is what you think is going to happen, at this point, if you probably brushed shoulders with, say, the opposition leaders, Rigathi Gachagua, Kalonzo Musyoka, Fred Matiang'i, and others somewhere, what is the best advice you'd give them right now with the political situation?
I would advise them to keep doing what they're doing. We wouldn't want a government without opposition. They would find it very difficult to fill the shoes of Baba, but let them keep doing what they're doing. It is needed. Every government needs an opposition, and they should even come together and do a more formidable work than they are doing. They're still not being able to put the government in check. They need to come together so that the government has a formidable opposition to win against. We do not want a split opposition where one is speaking from Mount Kenya, another one from Kisii, another one from Ukambani, and speaking from different, reading from different scripts. Let them be what they're saying. They're calling themselves, what do they call it? One opposition. They call it themselves? United opposition. Let them be that united opposition if they can. But I doubt they can. So they need to do more job. They need to do more work, bringing themselves together. That would only mean that they need to have selflessness and stop this selfish behavior of pulling to everybody wants to pull to their side. If they continue doing that, we will beat them in 2027. And I do not see them changing. They will still continue being disjointed, and that is how we shall beat them. Yeah. So my advice to them is to come together, get one formidable person. I don't know. From the look of things, I can't think of any person who would. And I know, by the way, why opposition is fighting because even themselves, they know nobody has faith in the other. Even in themselves, nobody believes that they can do anything. I mean, I know Matiang'i is looking at Gachagua and wondering why would we choose Gachagua. He's a tribal. He has tribal bigotry and he's not electable. He cannot move anywhere beyond Nyeri. And then Gachagua looks at Matiang'i and wonders, this person is Kisii, cannot move from Kisii. He's not electable in other places. They look at Kalonzo and they say, this person has been here since the 80s. He's never been able to convince anybody to vote for anybody. So, I mean, they're also lost. They do not see any leader among themselves. So they are lost. They should probably approach a more formidable candidate and support them. And I think that candidate would only be William Ruto. So they need to come to government, and that's where they belong. Uko inje, wataka tu ni kelele tu wanapiga, and they will never be together. They will never form a formidable fight because they cannot be united. That name is very aspirational. United opposition is very aspirational to them. It's a mirage. They see it over there, but when they get there, there's nothing. It's just a mirage. They can't achieve it. They lack the selflessness to let one of their own take the mantle. They can't.
Mheshimiwa, in the event that President William Ruto is re-elected in 2027, do you think there is still space, for example, to welcome Rigathi Gachagua back into government? Is there space to have Kalonzo Musyoka fit in somewhere? Is there space to have Fred Matiang'i fit in somewhere, considering probably some of the influence they could have or not have?
If there was such space, it would have been taken by now. I mean, the government has seen enough of its challenges that William Ruto would have been forced to take them in if they were of any political consequence. Baba was of political consequence, and that is why every government invited him into the government, because he brought stability. Now, you cannot give such opportunities to people who are of no political consequence. I mean, who they are? Why would you bring Matiang'i to government? Why would you want to bring Rigiji to government? I mean, Rigiji was in government, the government kicked him out. He was of no political consequence. He said, you go and make your noise outside there as we watch you. Tuone ile kitu utafanya. Kalonzo Musyoka, we saw him even when he said atapita katikati yao between Kibaki and Raila. What did he bring to government? Nothing. Even when he pitied katikati, he was just there as a vice president, and things went haywire while he was there. He was not. There is no contribution he brought. If it was Baba in government, when Baba was in government in 2002, when he said Kibaki tosha, every Kenyan said Kibaki tosha. When he left government in 2003, there was chaos leading up to the crisis of 2007. Kalonzo was there. What did he do? He was of no political consequence. He was younger. He was more vibrant. Now he's older. His head is bald. He insists on keeping hair that he doesn't have. And now he's older. We have a generation that doesn't even recognize him. Look at Gachagua. He's in his 70s. You know, they have no political consequence whatsoever that would demand William Ruto to bring them into government. I don't see it happening.
Mheshimiwa, let's end it at, I think I forgot to mention this. Over the weekend, we saw some political activity at the neighboring constituency from where you come from, and we've seen Kiambu politics has been quite simmering. I don't know, what do you have to say about that? Then we'll conclude with you addressing your Kenyans and your constituents.
Kiambu County has seen now two very vibrant aspirants or contestants for the 2027 gubernatorial position. That is the current governor and the member of parliament for Thika. And I think because of the existing circumstances, then the politics has taken shape. The lines are drawn, battle lines are drawn, and when we have two opponents sharing the same podium, those are things that are expected. Yeah, and that is what you saw now in Gatundu North over the weekend. It is just two opponents angling for one seat that happen to be on the same podium. Those are things that you would expect, and the best candidates will win. And I see. I mean, you see, I foresee one of the candidates not being in the government. I see there will be realignments towards 2027. There are people who will move to other parties, just like there were realignments in 2022. You saw the governor for Kiambu moved from Jubilee to UDA the last few days towards the end, the closure of towards the elections. And I see the same happening. So battle lines will be drawn, and we will get a governor who is elected by the people of Kiambu.
Do you have anyone you think you would put your weight on?
I am personally not vying for the gubernatorial seat, but I would bet, the way I'm looking at things, I would see the Thika member of parliament is getting popularity, and but there's still a whole 20 months to go. So the people of Kiambu will speak.
Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa, for your time. Let's just conclude by you addressing Kenyans in general, members of your constituency, and just probably you could highlight to us events that probably we could watch out for coming up in 2026, and obviously it will be a few months or a year to the elections.
I would want to wish all Kenyans a Merry Christmas and happy festivities and a very prosperous new year 2026, especially members from the constituency, members from Gatundu South. I wish them well. I wish them happy festivities and a very happy 2026. 2026 is going to be a very vibrant year politically, economically, and most importantly, we'll be now getting into the advent of grade 10 joining school. I know there are a lot of uncertainties, but I am certain we will find our way somehow, and the confusion that has been created by the change of grades, just like it happened in 1989, is going to affect parents. They will be running helter skelter, but we will find the true north, and I know Kenya is a resilient country, and we shall move forward, and the country shall be stable, and we shall prosper. I wish everybody a happy 2026. Thank you very much.